So let's talk about the challenges we face in all the different phases of our business, in all these different stages. So let's talk about the solopreneur. So what do you think are the most common challenges in that stage, and how to change that, how to solve these problems?
So the biggest challenge we have as business owners is we're all taught and trained and reinforced how to be good clinicians. And being a good clinician does not necessarily transfer to having a good business. So the business of physical therapy is different than the clinical services of physical therapy. I, like most people I've spoken to, thought if I'm just good at what I do and take care of the patients in front of me, I'll be successful. Unfortunately, there's other aspects of the business that doesn't make that true, such as understanding marketing, understanding how to communicate, and actually, here it comes, the S word, sell your services to other people. And then, of course, it's the hiring and the operations and the management and the financials. All of this is beyond the clinical services of delivering the care, which is immensely important. So that is the biggest problem we all face. So I just want to take you through kind of the evolutionary, the stages of business. Most of us start out in kind of the solopreneur phase. There's kind of two phases to that, sub phases. There's the solopreneur who's kind of moonlighting, or what's the term? It's their side hustle, right? I'm old, so I say moonlighting, but it's the side hustle. So they're working their full-time gig, and maybe on the weekends or at night, they're treating a patient or two here and there. Then they're like, okay, I'm ready to take the leap. I want to do this. So they quit their job and they go all in. And now it's pretty much still just them. They're the solopreneur, and they start to see patients. And, you know, most of us can wrangle together some people because we have a network of people. We have our family and friends who, I can't tell you how many family and friends I treated initially to kind of help me out that were having problems. And now we're starting to get busier. The biggest problem there is really just having the ability to generate enough business. All right, we can generate a little business, but we need to generate more business. So learning how to connect and build our network of people so they can start, you know, referring us people. Most people in this stage is operating on word of mouth referrals. It's just you, it's just word of mouth. Now here's what starts to happen. You start to get busier, right? You're generating more revenue, you're starting to get busy, and now your schedule starts to fill up. Well, what happens when your schedule fills up? You now don't have actually time to go out and do the marketing and the connecting and all the things you were doing before. Also, what happens in this time is, especially if you're taking insurance, you start getting the denials. You start getting the crap that comes from insurance companies that then stops you from doing what you're doing to address those problems. The busier you get, you start getting more people canceling or no-showing or having questions or changing their appointment times. So you, as the solopreneur, pretty much the only person, maybe you have a part-time front desk person, your time starts to go up. So you were working 30 hours a week in the business. Now you're working 40, 50, 60. Because not only are you getting busy treating, you're getting busy with all of the other operational marketing stuff that who else is going to do it? So then what happens after this solopreneur stage, we start getting this, I refer to it kind of this overwhelmed operator stage. The overwhelmed operator is, unlike the solopreneur, or as we call it, the committed clinician, you start to hire people. You hire people in hopes They can help relieve some of the stress, relieve some of the burden that you have. Now, I can tell you firsthand, and having worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other people, that doesn't happen the way we think it does. So hiring people causes another level of problem, because now you have other people you're responsible for. Perhaps good people, perhaps maybe not so good people. How do we really know until once we hire them? So we use kind of the hope and pray model. You know what the hope and pray model is, Mariana? We just hope and pray they're good and they just do their job so I can focus on treating patients and doing what I have to do. Well, when the hope and pray doesn't work, we start to have lots of problems with the employees. And again, we're not trained for this. We're not prepared for any of this. So many of us, and I would say, just kind of gauging in my experience, 95% of business owners kind of stay in this $500,000 to maybe $1 million range. This is where most practices are, maybe a little bit more, but it's this overwhelmed operator stage. And this overwhelmed operator stage is because the biggest challenge there, unlike the challenge before, the biggest challenge here is really putting in systems and organization and making sure your people know how to do what they're supposed to do, which takes the pressure off of you. And then, of course, when you really get firmly into that 7-figure, things start to change. You have more systems in place, but now management becomes so much more important. And you start to put in your management team, which again, you as the business owner, you're going through evolutionary changes. You were doing everything as the solopreneur. Then you were kind of doing everything, but still managing your small team. And now you're doing different stuff, managing your team, leading your team, and all this other stuff. So there's different problems along the way. And then, of course, as the business continues to grow, other things become important. But where most people never seem to get away from is this overwhelming operator stage that gives people the freedom and the time that they want, as well as their money, without being stressed 24/7. So those are the different stages of kind of private practice life.
Yeah.